Phones off. Doop, 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 doop. Yo, we back, man. Another football Friday,
Yes,
Super Bowl
sir.
week edition. The Man to Man Pod. One half, Darius Butler. Got my co-host Antoine Bethea.
What's good?
And today we got a very, very special guest, man. Obviously got a ton of Super Bowl experience. My former teammate, Devin Mccourty in the building. One half of the Mccourty twins. What up, Dev?
Appreciate y'all having me on, man. You should have told him, bro. College rivals back in the day, man.
Got Big East rivals, man. It's crazy that the Big East don't even exist no more with football, man. How Rutgers been doing, man? You know, UConn took the year off, man. We had to get bigger, faster, stronger this year. How Rutgers did this year, man?
It was a struggle for a lot of years, but Shannon came back. You know it was a struggle because we got like 3 or 4 wins and everybody ecstatic out here in Jersey. So it was bright though.
I already know. Y'all still in the Big Ten?
Yeah, yep. Got
Okay.
a couple Big Ten wins this year, first time. I think
Okay.
10 wins.
Okay, yeah, respect. So how your off season been going, man? Obviously, this is completely foreign to you. You used to still been playing, you know, at least in the championship. How many times you been in the championship game?
I think 8, because I've been in Super Bowl 5 times and then like 3 other.
That's wild. 8 chips. So how your off season been going, man?
Man, it's been straight daddy duty.
Yeah.
That's you know what I mean? It sucks not making the playoffs, but that's the reward now is being back home. Kids helping them get ready for school, picking them up from school, like all of that stuff that they're not really used to other than maybe Tuesday's the off day, one time a week, being able to do that. So that's been fun. And then all the off the field stuff that I do, Man of the Year nomination. So I was doing a bunch of stuff with Nationwide this week. With the
Congratulations with that, man. That's big time.
Appreciate it.
So how many little ones you got?
I got 2, and they're 13 months apart, 3 and 2 years old. So
active.
I know they keeping you
they
busy.
got 3, so we always be together. So it'd be 5 kids, full speed, running around.
That's love, though. That's love.
Really, don't get no better than that, man. Don't get no better than so this season, man. I know it was challenging, man. Like how crazy was that this season dealing with obviously the pandemic.
Yeah, man. I think it really started off with questioning like if you wanted to play. I think with everything going on, if you would ask me back in like that March time, I would have said, man, no way we really have a season. And then as it came, I think I was like, man, I'm playing. Like I'm too old to sit out. Like if I sit out a year, it'd probably be it. And as it got closer, my wife was looking at me like, "Oh, we're playing?" I thought we would opt out and not play. So getting back to it, I think was it was different, man. When we first started out, I think we had to really iron out the communication, how everything was going to work. And D-Buck, being in New England, you get the schedule and stuff sometimes just 2 days in advance. Like everything's kind of a mystery. But this year, like everything had to be out in the open. I think everyone needed to know what they were walking into, and I really do commend the team. They went above and beyond. We use every locker room in the facility, the visitor, the Revolution, the soccer team. We use their locker rooms. Like we were spread out. We was meeting upstairs in the club. We was meeting in all these different areas in the stadium to avoid, being in close contact. So something I don't want to go through again. Like I don't think mentally I could go through all of that. I mean, we had a week and a half where we was basically a high school football team, coming to work, going to the bubble, changing into your pads, going out to practice, back to the bubble, put your street clothes on, go home, no shower, no treatment. Like that.
Damn.
Yeah, that was rough when Cam got it and a couple other guys, they put us in that high intense protocols. Like you couldn't do anything at the facility other than go practice on the field and go home. So I want no part of that. That's too hard at this age, not being able to do all those little things to get the body ready.
Yeah, man. Speaking on that, I couldn't imagine even going through, what you just kind of described.
Crazy.
Crazy on the outside looking in. But as far as like the team aspect, and you just kind of mentioned as far as in March, you would have thought about opting out. Wifey was like, "Oh, we jumping into this thing," and obviously it was a lot of guys on your team, specifically on the defensive side, that opted out. How do you think that impacted you guys this season. But on the other side, though, you had a lot of guys that got a lot of playing time that maybe wasn't expecting that. How you think that could help you guys moving forward?
Yeah, and I would say for this past season, it definitely hurt us. And I think you talk about no off season. So, a lot of those guys were involved in the virtual off season we had. So it's not like we started off in April talking about, how we're going to replace Hightower, who's going to do it. Like High didn't know, Chung didn't know, like they didn't know that they weren't going to play that this year. So we're kind of in those meetings, piecing everything together, trying to, become the team that we're going to be, even though it's virtual. And then as training camp hits, and it's like, I'm talking to those guys, and they're like, "Man, I'm not sure. Like this don't look good." And once they decide to opt out, now you jump into it. We had Jawan Bentley return that linebacker, but it was only his third year. In his rookie year, he missed the year, and then everybody else was guys that really never played linebacker for us. So definitely was hard early in the season trying to run the multiple defensive sets we do and all those things. But like you just said, man, at the end of it, you look up and you got guys that played a ton of snaps, not just playing like either the Mike, but playing the Mike, then the Sam, then the Jack. Like guys had to move around because of injuries and do so many different things. The expectation for those guys will be higher coming back. Like you'll expect those guys to take that next step, and then hopefully guys like High and Chung come back and can be big parts of the defense. But we were very fortunate at safety that we signed Adrian Phillips, who came in and was able to do a lot of the stuff that Chung does, and really did it at a high level. Like he had to step into some communication stuff that coming from like the Chargers, where they were a big cover 3 team. He was like, man, this stuff don't make any sense. Makes no sense. And he did step up, but I think having Chung in there and what he's brought to the team, leadership and all of that, and obviously his play, should make us a better defense right away starting off the year.
Yeah, for sure, man. So it's crazy. You obviously been there for so long. You've seen a lot of defensive coaches, especially, move on and get different jobs. Where there's, Patrick Graham, B. Flo, Matt Patricia. How has it been with Gerald Mayo? Because when I was there, he was a teammate, still on the field, and now seeing him in the coaching role, and I feel like he's kind of going to be that next guy that gets that shot. How's it been working with Mayo?
757, baby.
It's been fun, man, and it's funny because you start off playing in the NFL and you're like the young guy, all the coach, and now I'm on the defense, and Mayo's a year older than me. I'm older than both our secondary coaches. I'm older than the D-line coach. I'm older than Stevie B, the outside linebacker coach. So, but having Mayo was fun because, like you just said, I lined up and played with the guy, for 8 years, with him being a signal caller, the guy that really communicated the whole defense to everybody. And now you get, I think, him and his personality just in the coaching role. Like he didn't change. He's in there yelling and screaming, getting on guys, cracking jokes the whole time. And I think that's what's been cool because he has a great bond with guys. And it's not that other coaches, they're not good. It's just you can't have that bond because he played at a high level. So when he comes in there and he's talking to guys, he's telling guys like, hey, do this, do that. They know it's real because they saw it, and I think that's his gift. I think Mayo has really an endless opportunity in this league. He went after he retired, did business, understands that part of it, understands the football part. Someday he'll definitely be a head coach, and I think he'll have great success in this league.
Nah, that's dope, man. I love to see it. Me and Mayo, we played against each other in high school, man. So again, like you said, just seeing him transfer over into that role, man, it's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing.
Who got the better than battles, man?
Man, both our teams was some shit, but we was both some shit. But Mayo was a dog, man. He was a dog.
Yeah, but so I feel like you had that football IQ coming in. I don't know if it was from Shiano, from somebody early on, but what was like your path, I guess, with finding football? Obviously, you got a twin brother. I'm sure y'all did everything together. Y'all still do, a lot of things together now. So how did you find, football, that passion for football?
Yeah, man, my older brother really got, Jay and me into football. Growing up, I was a big basketball guy. My father passed away when we were young, but he gave us a basketball like 2 years old, and people used to come up to us and tell us, he have us walking through the park holding the ball. So that was our passion. Our older brother loved football. Like, he'll tell you all his high school wide receiver stories for an hour and a half and act like he was all world. So we really got going that way. And like you said, all throughout high school, finishing high school. And, for me, I only had one offer. So, one Division I offer. I had New Hampshire and Rutgers. So Rutgers really only offered me because they wanted Jay. And they felt like to get Jay, they had to offer his twin brother. So
smart.
Yes, it gave me the chip. So going to Rutgers, not playing as a freshman, and really my freshman year feeling like, man, it was real. They really didn't want me. Came in, gave me number 39, put me as a 7.
That don't stink, boy.
On the depth chart, I called my mom like, hey, we got to start looking at some AA schools. This probably not going to work out. You fast forward 4.5 years, get drafted in the first round in New England. But I never really felt like a first rounder because I felt like my whole kind of entire time people doubted me. Even, getting drafted in the first round, I remember getting there to New England. I remember you shooting me that text right away, like, bro, we're going to grind, we're going to compete. And going to the press conference, the first question, they're like, hey, were you aware that, you're not a popular first round pick? Really as a first round special teams pick.
Yeah.
Like, damn, like this is different out here. So
that's the first time I ever heard that. First time special rounds pick. Special teams pick.
Went right at my head like, you a gunner getting drafted in the first round. And, it's just how I think football goes. I think I had one rep at gunner my whole career in the NFL. But like that was the only projection that I would play as a rookie was on special teams. So it's been a fun ride. I think it started with that just feeling like I got disrespected, as a high school player. And I felt like that's carried with me throughout my whole career.
Yeah. So I got to go. Oh, go ahead, B.
No, go ahead.
No, I just want to go back. Obviously, I got to go back to them Big East days. So, you get the Rutgers. And so is Jay playing early? Does he play his freshman year?
Yeah, Jay played his freshman year just on like punt, couple packages on defense, nothing major. But he was playing. I was traveling back home watching the games with the fam.
So you dealing with that transition. Obviously, having somebody that close to you playing. I had, my best friend Tavon Branch. He was playing as a true freshman. I had the red shirt, so that was tough. That was a tough spot to be in. But for you, obviously, it seemed like you dug down, found something. So how was that? I want to just go back to that Rutgers because y'all were doing, I feel like kind of what we were doing at UConn as well, kind of putting that program on the map. Y'all class that era, I feel like put Rutgers at a different level. So what kind of, went into that behind the scenes? And I know you played a role in that because I remember playing against you guys. You were always, out there making plays. I had some offensive snaps against you and Jay. I remember getting smacked on that reverse. I still don't know which one of y'all hit me, but I still got beef by that. But talk about the Rutgers days a little bit.
Bro, it's funny because whenever we used to play teams, like Shannon was that type of coach that made everybody that you played against, he made you feel like that guy was way better than you. So we play at UConn and he turns on the film and he's like this is an athlete. Like this guy's their star corner. He's gonna be a first round pick at corner. But they put him at receiver, and I think like the week before you caught a hitch route, faked one way, turned the corner, took off against Louisville, and he showed us like he's a problem. If he gets on the field, like he's just gonna kill us. So
yes,
everybody was like, number one left,
bruh. I remember because I got I never forget. I got in the bunch formation. It was the same formation I had against Virginia. And I heard y'all like yelling. I heard Jay on one side, you on the other. Hey, watch the reverse. Number one. I'm like, oh shit! Please check out of this time. Please. Wow. I got snot all in my visor and shit, man. I remember that like yesterday.
No matter what, we cannot let another DB come on offense and make a play against us. We was like,
facts,
man. And like that's what Rutgers was, man. I was fortunate. We came in. It was me, my brother. Ray Rice was in our class. Another dude, Courtney Green, Tyler Underwood, all guys that ended up playing years in the NFL. Then the Kenny Britts came behind us. So we came in with a bunch of guys who really didn't know any better. We all just felt like, yo, let's try to get to the league. And Shannon was hard to play for, man. Like everything we did was hard. And like it was going from those programs that people would really rank at like 115, 120 in the country. And now we're trying to take it to the next level. And, I think we all took a lot of pride in their different years, ranked in the top 10 in the country, top 5 one time. Like we all took a lot of pride in that because we lived for those, those Thursday night games where people could watch us. You weren't watching the Big East on Saturday at 1:00. You was watching SEC, ACC, all of those conferences. So we took a lot of pride in just, taking this program and trying to rise it to new heights. And I think for a lot of us that was from the New York, New Jersey area, you basically was playing at home. So that was the best of both worlds for us.
Talk about you talk about, you said playing for Coach Schiano wasn't easy. Like, did that help your transition? Going to New England. I think everybody in the outside world, and I hear D-Butt talk about it. I hear guys that go up there in New England and play, just say like it's different out there. It's different up there. They tap into you mentally, they tap into you physically. So coming from Rutgers, going to New England, you think that prepared you for that?
Definitely. Like at Rutgers, we did so many things that had nothing to do with football that at the time you'd be pissed about it. Like, bro, why the hell are we doing this? This has nothing to do with wins and losses. And then you get to New England. Like for me, it was easier. Like playing for Bill was easier than playing for Schiano. Like we used to have to, you get in stretch lines. Your toes have to be all the way up to the white line, but not touching the white line, not too much. So like you get out there and mentally, like it's taxing. Like you always thinking about that.
Yeah.
I get to New England and we got our first meeting at 8:00 and everybody's sitting in the locker room. It's 7:58. And I'm looking like, yo, bro, y'all not going in the meeting. Everybody it's 59. Everybody starts screaming, 1 minute. And then everybody start walking in the meeting room. And I'm like, oh, this kind of chill around here. Like people, and Bill's all into football now, mentally and physically. When it comes to football, he gonna tax you. Like training gonna be hard. All of that stuff's gonna be hard. But other than that, like he's not one of those coaches that when you get in the building, you only can wear New England stuff. Like it's kind of laid back from that standpoint. He wants the players to have some type of ownership in the calls and all of that. But the football and getting prepared is definitely tough. And honestly, I don't know what it is, anywhere else. But I've just seen guys come in and out, and different guys have had different perspectives depending on where you've played before.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely different. And I feel like, Bill, he attacks it more. He got a lot of military stuff, I would say, within his with his approach to the game and just the preparation, the over preparation. And I can remember vividly, we had somebody, I want to say it was Taekwon. He had signed to the squad, and we had went out to eat. Me, you, and a couple other guys. And we were just kind of prepping him for what he was getting into. And he was like, man, hey, one thing about it, when you run out that tunnel on Sunday, like you feel like you're gonna win. You feel like you're the best prepared team. You're gonna be the best conditioned team. So it's kind of all worth it in the end when it comes to football. But
and it's funny you say that because even not to interrupt you, but even
go ahead, bro.
A guy like Aqib Talib comes to the team, and like when we trade for him, everybody's like, "Oh, not that! Like that's not gonna work." And then he comes in and he thought it was the greatest thing ever. Like he came in there, and if you talk to Lee, he got that crazy little voice. He like, hey man, like I'm complaining about like this the best ever, because he felt like he had never played on a team where like everybody's attention was to winning. Like everybody cared about winning. Like he was like, yeah, you practice hard, but it all makes up for it when you get a chance to go out there on Sunday and win. And I remember for me, like that, I think that was like year 5 or 6. And I'm like, dang, maybe this thing ain't as bad as I think. Maybe other places. But like, then we get some guys that come in there and they're like, bro, this is brutal. Like, I can't be here. It don't work for me. And I think that's what it is. Like, New England is definitely not for everybody. And I think it's easier coming in as a rookie than being a vet and being because you get used to it. Like, every team does something different. And then I think depending on what's happening in your career, like if you are a guy that hasn't won and you come and you're winning, you're like, bro, whatever it takes to win. But if you're a guy, you know what I mean, like you got playing in Indy, you with Dungy, y'all winning, like you're like, bro, there's another way to win. Like we don't have to do it this way. So it's definitely a different place. It's very unique because, like you said, Bill is a unique guy, bro. Like he's different guy to talk to. Like he has this mystique to him. But I think once you're there for a while, you kind of get to be a part of it, and you have different conversations with people, and you understand more of why the team has been good for so long.
Nah, that's real though, because I kind of got it on the other end, whereas, being in Indy first and then going elsewhere and like shit not moving how I'm used to seeing it move, like doing like a daily process like throughout the week. I'm like, bro, like this, like y'all not doing it right. Not saying it got to be the Colts way, but it's like, I've seen it the way it's supposed to look.
Level football.
Exactly. Now, you know what I'm saying? And not to knock anybody else or any other organization or whatever I've been with, but it was just like, coming from that and seeing that from, like you said, your rookie year on throughout, my first half of my career. So I definitely get you on that point.
Yeah, and for a lot of guys, for athletes, for people in general, I think it's harder to deal with success sometimes than failure because you get complacent. And you came in, like you said, I'm sure you had a chip on your shoulder. You heard you weren't a popular first-round pick, but you came in, you had a Pro Bowl year as a rookie, as a cornerback position, which is very, very, very tough. I want to say you had like 7, 8 interceptions, something crazy like that. So what number one attributed, what do you think attributed to that success? And then number two, like going into that, going into your second year, how did you deal with that success and, preparation, all that stuff?
Yeah, man, going into my rookie year, like I felt fortunate. Like, like our room was just cool, whether it was you, Lee, Kyle, like all of us wanted to play. All of us wanted to do great, but like everybody wanted everybody else to have success too. And I remember being out there with James Sanders, like not a name that a lot of people know. But, like, I never had to worry about really knowing anything because James would be back there screaming out, watch the 3-step, hey, watch the 9 route, they coming at you, they coming at – like, he's helped me out so much that as a rookie, I just had to play football. Like, I had to just line up, know if we was in man, if we was in 2 or 3, and just play, like, the techniques that I knew. And I think sometimes even coming into the NFL, sometimes guys play a little bit better from a man-to-man or – little things like that when you come in as a rookie because you don't have time sometimes for some of these guys get their hands on you and overcoach you and tell you all of this stuff and try to break habits.
Yep.
Just go. And I remember like even going into my second year because like you said, you have that kind of success as a rookie. Like I'm in the Pro Bowl, I'm in there. It's Revis, it's Champ Bailey. I'm sitting there like, bro, like this is crazy. Like in the Big East, we all watched Reeve. Like Revis was that guy at Pitt.
Yeah.
Champ Bailey, we had a poster on the wall in college of Champ. So you come back as a year 2 guy, all I'm thinking about is like, I got to repeat. I got to play well. I start working out like 2 or 3 weeks after the season. I'm watching more film. And I think I almost psyched myself out because I'm watching so much film thinking like, yo, you're picking up on this stuff. You know it. And I'm watching film wrong. Like, I don't know what I'm watching. I'm just, you know what I mean? I'm in year 2. And year 2 was as bad as you can have coming off a Pro Bowl year. You know what I mean? That was a year we had no off season. We were predominantly like a cover 2 zone blitz team my rookie year. We come back year 2, they like, hey, man, we're going to be all man single high. I'm like, oh, all right, bet. Week 1, Brandon Marshall. Week 2, Vincent Jackson. I'm like, this a different animal. And
real.
I think that was a huge learning experience because for me, it was hard. Like, you're going through all of that. We end up going to the Super Bowl that second year. So I had to learn how to deal with like struggling as a second-year player. All of the media interviews are about my struggles. Like I couldn't do an interview without someone asking me about how bad I played the week before, 2 weeks before, or, hey, you just finally had a good game. And then you make it to the Super Bowl. So like, you don't want it to be about you. You're trying to make it about the team, but that's all you get asked. And I think really that set me up for the rest of my career because like getting through that and getting to year 3 and kind of really developing bonds with the guys and understanding like, man, like you just got to ignore all of that helped me out a lot. But year 2 was definitely a struggle. Like I called my brother a few times like, man, they about to cut me out here, bro. Like it's rough, but getting through that and I think propelling myself, eventually moving to safety and all of those things were tough. Like, even jumping to the, the next subject of moving to safety. Like, we're in the 2011 season. I'm struggling. They're like, hey, on 3rd down, we're going to get you some safety. And, just to get some more speed back there, because that year we had Chung and Ihedibo, really two downhill, strong safety type of guys. And they're like,
yeah,
we'll move you because of that. And I'm like, yeah, all right, you moving me because I'm struggling. But
yeah.
you're struggling, so you take it. It is what it is. And I come back year 3, and I feel like I had one bad game against Baltimore, but other than that, I'm playing well. And they're like, hey, Chung gets hurt, Steve Gregory gets hurt. We're just going to move you to safety full time. And I remember sitting there and I'm like, move me to safety full time. Like, and at this time, it's a huge difference in pay from playing corner and safety. Like, all of those things start triggering in my mind, but I'm like, I'm only in year 3. Like, year 1 was great. Year 2 wasn't. Like, I don't have any leverage. And I remember just being angry at a lot of year 3 of having to do that. And, then we trade for Talib. It was year 3. We trade for Talib. Talib comes. It's actually working out, like playing safety, doing a good job there. It's been fun. And then Talib gets hurt. Somebody else gets hurt. They're like, hey, the last 2 games.
Go back to corner.
And I'm like, bro, this not it. Like, as soon as my contract up, I'm out of here. And I remember Bill coming up to me that week in practice, like, yeah, you could still do some safety and just get corner where you, as if like playing corner and safety. And like, this is true Bill fashion. Like, it's the same thing. Like, yeah, just go down there, get a few reps at corner, and you'll start the last 2 games. And then going into my 4th year is really when like it was just safety. And I felt like that's really when I had a chance to like take off and become a better player, because I got to learn how to play safety. Like, before I was just fast, 30 yards deep, don't let the ball over your head. That 4th year is when I started to really learn how to play safety. Watching the other safeties in the league really helped me out to, I think, become the player that I ended up becoming.
Nah, that's dope. So tell the viewers and even the listeners, man, like the biggest difference, just like as far as watching film. I never played corner, so I can't really talk about, when they watch film, like what are they specifically looking at? I've sat in the room with, some corners, but you being a corner, switching to safety, like what was the biggest difference as far as watching film, breaking down film that you was kind of looking at?
Yeah, man, I would say that took me a while. I would say understanding the difference in watching film and then covering tight ends different for me. And, I think at corner, I was always locked in on seeing, does this guy play on the left side more? Am I have to watch him more? Is this a traveling game? Am I going to travel with a guy? How does he run certain routes? What routes does he run out of this formation? Is this foot up? Is that foot up? Is he dropping his hands in his break? And like, that's the stuff I used to study and try to kind of ingrain in my mind. And then I moved to safety, and I'm in the middle most of the time, and now I'm seeing the whole formation. And I got to know, how can I help the corners out? Like, I'm playing free safety. Like, I know I'm going to get to read the quarterback. I'm going to study his drops, his look-offs, all of those things. But I'm like, well, how can I make the corner's job easier? Because I'm like, I just did that. And I think that was the biggest advantage I had on our defense when we would line up and we get in the red area. And let's say we're playing a dog like that lines up in the slot, and that safety would be doubling that slot. And before the snap, he all the way in the middle of the field, and now the X by himself, one-on-one. And when I moved to safety, I was like, all right, like, I can double this guy, but I can make it look like I'm over here.
I can show over here,
yeah. And a lot of times, like, the younger safeties would come in there and they'd do something. I'm like, yo, listen, I know you. I said, you never been out there in that island. If you think that guy's not that good. And a prime example was when we were younger, Stevie Johnson. Like, they had different packages of Buffalo to the front side, and so we're pushing help. And now you back there with the crossover king, buddy, back there 5 moves. And I'm sitting back there. I remember being corner like, bro, this not it. Like, I started to learn that when I went to safety. Like, man, if I just stay over here for 2 seconds, I either throw into a double and guess and force it, or he's going to have to go back to the slot late, and now I'll still get there. So that's the stuff now that I try to teach safeties that come in who only think about, like, making the big plays. And I'm like, that stuff will come. But, like, how you make your defense better is understanding where you're weak at and make it look like you're strong before the quarterback can recognize that's the weakness of the defense.
Nah, that's for sure. I know I used to tell the young safeties, I'm like, just picture if you was a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Like, just picture that. So just a picture if you was a safety and you was doubling and the quarterback just seeing you run into the double. The first thing you're gonna do is gonna look where he came from. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's dope. And it's I always love to see where the OGs in the locker room and the old heads, you old head now, the old heads in the room are able to teach the young guys. Because a lot of times the DB coaches, they can't deliver it like we can deliver it. You know what I mean? I know I used to be in meet rooms and we leave the meet room and the young guys be like, oh, like what is coach talking about in there? And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just break it down to you like this, bro. Like, this is all you need to do. This is what you need to see. This is what you look at, and then from there, let the instincts take over. So, that's love. I love talking this ball shit, bro.
Yeah, we can go deep into. Do you see yourself ever potentially getting in the coaching when you're done?
Nah, man, I can't do them.
Don't put too much time.
Man, as a player, like, there's times you had that game plan, the coach doing the most, and you like, hey, man, like, this too much. So I can't imagine sitting in a staff meeting and hit 11:30, 12 o'clock in the morning, and we still worried about this one issue. Man, I know I'd be like, all right, fellas, man. Home, man. And I think at some point, like the high school and the youth and trying to teach kids some of those fundamental things and trying to give them little tips of the trade at the high level stuff, bringing it to them at a young age. I would love to do that. It's not as time consuming, but I can't picture myself in there coaching with those kind of hours, man.
Man, I think this is a perfect segue. So earlier you talked about, being a Walter Payton Man of the Year. Obviously, I see, that's one of the biggest awards that you can get, just talk about what you do in the community, off the field, and just using your platform the right way. Like, what got you into the community service and just, trying to pay it forward?
Yeah, man, I think how I grew up, man. I grew up in Nyack, New York, and this place called the Nyack Plaza Apartments, and it was super community based. Like, everything we did was as a community. If my mom had to be somewhere, my neighbor downstairs, she was telling on everything we did. It was always for a good reason. It was for positivity. And so when I got to the league, I started thinking, like, how can I give back? Like, what's some things I could do? And the sickle cell disease is in my family. My aunt and uncle had the disease. My aunt passed away 2 years ago. And I was like, man, let me jump into sickle cell. And sickle cell affects, 90% of minorities, Black and brown people. So jumping into that was like, man, like, I'm not just helping my family. I'm also helping people that look like me, people that don't understand some of the struggles of this disease. I think then from there, it just took off. I think being in a locker room, as competitive as guys are, you get competitive even off the field stuff. You see guys doing stuff, and you're like, damn, like, man, I could be doing better. Or I could be doing more. And then, a couple of years ago, all the social justice stuff took off, and with Malcolm and Anquan starting the Players Coalition, jumping into that and being able to bring that to our team and put a spotlight on a lot of people that really just didn't have a voice, needed people advocating for them. So whether it was education, economic advancement, criminal justice reform, all of those different topics. It was fun to be able to attack and to see some real change. And then this year has been unique because everybody that knows New England is, we only talk about football. We only do football. And this year on Mondays, we sat down, we had social justice meetings. We had people come in on Zoom calls and talk to us about different things going in the community. We were able to raise $500 and something thousand to donate to the community. So it's been fun, I think, to journey throughout your NFL career and just see how even the off the field stuff, how the NFL now has incorporated, because they have to, not because they want to, they've incorporated the messages of the players because they realize, like, hey, the players have power. The players realize that now and just continue to push the envelope. So I think the off the field stuff has to go hand in hand with what guys do on the field. And I think we now see our best players in our league do a ton off the field. You look at Deshaun Watson as he's going through and he wants to be out. Before you can call him a bad guy, you see people listing all the things he does for people. And I think that's awesome. Guys are realizing, like, hey, I can create my own path in this league. And, we should do it. We should. And I think as players, former players, like we should advocate when guys do that instead of trying to shut them down, tell them they shouldn't do that. We should be like, man, like, I wish I did that, or I realized they're doing that because I did this in my career, and it just pushes forward. So it's fun just to be a member of the league and see how guys are really transitioning and realizing how much power you have.
Yeah, it's dope, man. Like you said, even when it comes to the social justice stuff, obviously a lot of it started with Cap, and then 2017. Which was my last year in the league. That's when 45 made some statements and everybody took a stance around the league. You were part of that, obviously, with the coalition. Kraft, I remember going up to New York and Kraft being one of the owners at the table. And I would say that he kind of, he took more steps than a lot of the other guys in that building. So in New England, it's not, I wouldn't say, it's definitely not the South, but it's not the place to be, taking those stands 5-10 years ago. Like you wouldn't be welcome like that. So I'm glad to see the progress, league wide. And like you said, I think a lot of it from the NFL standpoint wasn't because they necessarily wanted to, but it was because a lot of you guys really took the power in your hands. And, hopefully we never go back to that place and it just keeps moving forward. But big time salute to all you guys, man, been in front of that.
Yeah, for sure.
All the time. My legacy in New England won't be the wins and all that stuff. It'll be, man, D-Mac brought the black people to light in New England. Like people just, how New England speak out. People are like, they can't speak out over there. Like they got to be thoughts. And it's been fun to navigate that and show like, bro, when people are passionate about something, like it doesn't matter what team you play for. Like it's bigger than all of that stuff. And it showed people that like some of the things you think about New England is just not true. It's just I think don't realize that like, hey, you're there for a while. The passions and stuff you have, like you just got to run with it and see who's going to get behind you. And I think that's what we saw in New England. The more we did, whether I was meeting with Mr. Kraft or his son Jonathan, the president, like they were all in. Like I'm meeting with them, inviting them to stuff, and they were very supportive. I mean, they wrote an op-ed with me about the juvenile justice reform the day of the Super Bowl when we played the Eagles. So it for me has been fun just to be a part of that and really to be able to look back at something that I believe is like real. Super Bowl wins and all that is cool. More people do that, but like this time of change, I think guys really did a good job of taking advantage of it and pushing the envelope further for that next generation of athletes.
No, that's dope, man. I always say, man, if like you just said, if I walk away from this game or when I'm gone and all you can say is that, D-Bud, D-Mac, AB, y'all was great football players. If that's all you can say about me, man, I failed. You know what I mean? I failed my family. I failed my community. And I just failed, the youngsters coming after me. You know what I mean? So, again, like D-Bud said, man, salute to you. Salute what you've been doing. Off the field in the community, bro. That's big.
I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all doing it right here with this, man. Talking about different topics that I think people don't always expect athletes, especially black athletes, to be able to talk about and voice their opinion.
For sure, man. How the pod been going with you and your brother? Double coverage.
It was straight, man, and it's a lot harder when you playing football. But
hell yeah,
this past was on Nesson, so it was on the local sports channel up in New England. So it was fun, man. Bringing on different guests, talking about those different topics. Even in the off season, when we got to talk about all of the things that were going on in the country. I think it's great that athletes now find ways to get their message out without having to use different media people, like just putting out your own content, putting out your own stuff.
Controlling the narrative.
Yeah.
Directly to it,
I got a question for you. How is it playing with having bro on the team? You know what I mean? Like, obviously, like you said, he has 3 little ones, so I'm pretty sure those Sundays and the dinners after the games are always live. Like, how is it being able to have your twin brother rocking with you?
Man, it was awesome, man. Just going all the way back to 2018, that first year, we opened with Houston at home. Hooked my mom up and the wives and my aunt. They come, they got the sideline passes. They sitting on the sideline, hugging us before the game. Just like that opportunity alone, and especially you come in, he's in year 10, I'm in year 9. We thinking like, bro, we're going to get one opportunity to play together. We got to make the best of it. And it's just been awesome. Like you just said, from coming over, being at each other's house on Sundays, to carpooling to the game, to being able to spend the holidays together. And then I think, like he always talks about, the biggest thing was probably being back in a DB meeting room, a defensive meeting room, like being back together and seeing the growth of both of us when we be in those meetings. And anybody that knows us knows, like, we agree on a lot, but like when we disagree, like we don't care what's kind of going on around us. We're going to go until we figure out. So we be in meetings and I'm like, he got a question or he say something like that don't make sense. And I'm like, well, that's how we do it here. And he'd be like, yeah, we get it. You've been in New England. So even that part, to see our leadership and the growth we've had away from each other and the men we've become and the players we've become has been really cool over these last 3 years, just climbing in. And then obviously the top of that was winning Super Bowl 53. For him, 10 years in NFL, never makes the playoffs. First year in New England, makes the playoffs, goes all the way to Super Bowl and wins it. I felt like I was on the outside just watching him go through everything like that. That definitely the highlight of my whole career will be that 2018 season.
Nah, that's dope. That's dope. So let's
let's start talking ball, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let's talk this weekend. This weekend. Obviously, you were a teammate of TB12 for many years. What's your pick this weekend?
I got Tampa, man. I think, for one, I'm biased. I can't go against the GOAT, man.
Right.
And I think I feel similar to like when we played Kansas City in 2018. That first game, they lit us up 40 points, but it was like 5 or 6 big plays. I think it was 3 plays over 70 yards. It just hits you, and it hits you fast. And I think Tampa saw that. Like, they saw that, and I saw the clip D-Buck put out talking about how, they have to rotate the coverages and do different things. And I remember the first time we played them, it was all about doubling Kelsey on third down, doubling Kelsey in the red area, and we trying to be cute. We over there when they go 3 receivers to one side. We leaving a cornerback side on Kelsey, and they got me dropping down on Tyreek Hill at number 3, and he running overs away from leverage, no help. So we got back, and as we prepared for that AFC Championship game, it was like I came and I remember saying to Flo, like, hey, bro, whatever we do, anything that we did in that first game, bro, I'm not hearing it. And, that 2018 game, we came out, double Tyreek Hill the whole game. Hit 1 catch for 42 yards, which was still mean. He hit us all the way inside the hashes on
that deep 7.
Put on that 7.
That banana route.
Bruh, and I think that's what Tampa's going to have to do. They're going to have to come up with a game plan that stops him. And I don't know if it's doubling every time, but, like, you have to give the illusion of, like, he just can't run by you. And I know for us, we broke down a lot of film on Kansas City, even outside the coaches, because of the leeway we have as a secondary of, like, when we double Tyreek Hill, sometimes we didn't double him other times. And I know for us, I'm fortunate because when I line up at safety, I feel like I got the best 3 to 4 corners that I can have in the NFL when we go out there and play them. And I think that's what Tampa's going to have to figure out. Like, is it going man and other guys having to hold up? Do you have a guy that you say, hey, we're comfortable with him on Kelsey? He's not going to shut him down, but we feel comfortable like the catches he has is a catch and tackle. Like, those are the things I think as a staff you got to really go through and be honest, because it's hard to just sit in zone against Mahomes too.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't. You got to pick and choose your battles and play some man. But I think when you go man, you just got to be able to match up. And I think sometimes fans get hyped up because they're like, all right, they're going to put Carlton Davis over. He's going on Tyreek Hill. Like, not necessarily. Like, we play Tyreek Hill, our slot corner, Jonathan Jones. Like, bro, you run 4-3 something. You super quick. Wherever he go, you go. Like, I don't care if he lines up to Gilmore. So, like, this is our best matchup on him. And I think that's where coaching comes into play. And you gotta put those matchups to win, man.
That's a fact. Now, what about the other side? If you playing against Brady, you playing against that Bucks. They got a lot of weapons over there too. Obviously, you got some experience playing against BA's style offenses. I don't know how much you played against Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and those guys, but how would you, I guess, going into the game try to stop them?
Yeah, I think Tampa presents the challenge of why playoff football is so intriguing because like they have that run game, and I think when you first come in, I remember we played Tampa. I think it was in 2017, and we did a lot of too high, like, force him to run. It was Mike Evans on one side and Deshaun Jackson on the other side, and then you had Bray in the middle, and you were like, and O.J. Howard, you're like, let's just make him run the ball. Can't really do that because Tom is a guy who, like, if he has to run the ball, he has no problem running the ball. And I think
I've been on the unfortunate side of that too many times.
The difference with him and some of the great quarterbacks, like he doesn't care if he wins the Super Bowl with 210 yards. Like he's cool with that if it means a win. So I think Kansas City, their style of defense matches. Like they have no problem playing man free with a robber or blitzing to kind of have that run blitz or pass blitz, depending on the down and distance and stuff. Like, and I think they have a guy that's an X factor in Honey Badger. Like I think he's one of the best safeties in the league. And I know he's a DB, but I think he's a safety, but he's a guy that you can line him up if they go 11 personnel and he wants to play in the slot on the slot receiver. He can do that. He's a guy that's going to be a robber at times and be a blitzer in the middle. And I know, like, from talking to Tom, like, Honey Badger's going to be a guy that Tom finds every time it comes out. He's going to know where he's at. And I think it's going to be a cool battle to see how many times that Tom reads what he thinks Honey Badger's doing and checks a play, whether it's check play action or he thinks he's running a too high, checks to the run. It's going to be interesting. But I do think Kansas City and I think Tampa have defenses that don't get enough credit that I think they're going to actually be better than people think in this game. I really do.
Agree. I've been going back and forth with this game. I ain't gonna lie, because I feel like either way you're gonna feel like an idiot if the other one win. If I bet on Tom and I'm like, damn, what the hell was I thinking betting against Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes? And then you bet on Mahomes, it's like, what the hell was I thinking betting this dude in his 10th Super Bowl?
Yeah.
So it's gonna be tough, man. I think front to back, Tampa Bay has the better defense, I would say, but you've been on that stage so many times. I feel like, the Chiefs, they got the championship pedigree. They've been there. Like you talked about Honey Badgers, a bunch of other guys, Dirty Dan, Sorensen, Breland, a lot of guys, Chris Jones, Frank Clark up there. And just being there, how much you think that matters, number one, and which defense do you get an edge to in this one?
Yeah, I think it matters to a degree. Now, I think, as you know, D, but Bill used to always say when you get in the playoffs, I don't care about playoff experience. It comes to who plays the better football. And I think the unique thing about this Super Bowl is both teams, you don't get any of the hype. You don't get to having to go here and do like it's all virtual. Like they're all really engaged. Like, Kansas City's back at home. Tampa's, the game's in Tampa, but they're at home in their facility doing their normal thing. So they don't have to worry about the hustle and bustle of being out there. So I think Kansas City will have that slight edge because for right now, Tampa is just another game. They're at home. But, like, when Friday, Saturday, and now Sunday hits, like, it's a little different, man. Like, when you walk on that field and you see all of these people, and I don't know how it'll work with COVID, but there's just, like, 5 Hall of Famers chilling on this side. And there's another 8 Hall of Famers in the back of the end zone. You just see all of these people. And I remember the first time I was there, I was like, and like you're like, man, I'm in the Super Bowl, and the other time you just like, man, I gotta win. Like I'm locked on winning. But I think Tampa's biggest advantage is you're gonna watch all of those guys are gonna watch one guy, and they're gonna be watching Tom, and he's not in his 5th and he's in his 10th Super Bowl. So I think we'll all have a little bit of a calmness because they're gonna like this guy's gonna lead us. But I would definitely give that edge to Kansas City coming in. And I think if Kansas City can get off to a fast start, I think that could change the game a little bit. But like, Tom doesn't care about where he's at throughout the whole game. He's still going to believe he can win.
Yeah, man. I think it's going to be a good one. And like you said, whatever Tampa Bay did in that first game, do the exact opposite. Do the exact. I ain't gonna say do the exact opposite. They were playing a lot of man, but you just got to get more eyes on 10, man. You can't let him beat you. I definitely would love to see them double 10. Put Davis on Kelsey. Kelsey gonna get his. You're not gonna shut that offense down. He's gonna get his, but I would rather him catch the ball for 10 yards, tackle 8 yards here and there, rather than bombs over Baghdad. So I definitely
200. 200 in the first quarter last meeting.
Yeah, that was ugly. That was ugly.
Yeah, you can't let that happen. And you were obviously part of secondary in the defense. The only team so far to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. Who knows how long that lasts? But some comments made the other day. Danny Amendola, your former teammate, about the Patriot Way. He was saying, it's Tom Brady and that's the Patriot Way. I responded to it and named a bunch of guys. You were definitely one of them. What in your idea is, I guess, to the summation of the quote unquote Patriot Way?
Yeah, man. I'm actually just started a book called The Culture Code, and that's what I talked about. That like your culture is not something you are, it's something you do year in and year out, what you do. And to me, the Patriot Way started back when those guys didn't know that they was even developing a Patriot Way. The Teddy Bruschi's, the Ty Laws, the Vince Wilforks, the Lloyd Malloys, the Willie McGinnises, like all of those guys, the Matt Lights and all those guys, like they started to do something because they just thought like, hey, this is how we can win. And I think when you play up here for a while, you meet those guys. I've sat and talked to Jermaine Wiggins, a guy that didn't have a lot of big games, but like when they played Oakland and the snow was coming down and they needed somebody to step up, he had like, I think 8 catches in the game and ended up becoming an X factor. Like all of those guys are the Patriot Way. And the common guys in all of these years, Tom and Bill, those guys were, and to me, it's like, when you talk about the Patriot Way, it's everybody. It's all of it. It's the players, it's the coaches. And who's the leader of that? As from the player standpoint, it's Tom. And I think Dola was trying to send a message. I think Dola fell into the trap of, is it Brady or Tom? And he was trying to let people know, like, hey, for me, it's Brady. And I think a little bit of his, from the offensive standpoint, I think a lot of guys through the years that have come to New England probably feel like, hey, offensively, we're always there. We just need the defense to catch up. And I heard they dropped some facts over the last like 8 to 10 years. Like our defense has always been in the top 10. We've always
especially scoring defense.
Yeah, like 1 year we play Atlanta in the Super Bowl. We're the number 1 defense in the NFL. We played the Rams 2 years ago. We hold on to 3 points. Like you can't win Super Bowls without having a full team. So I definitely wasn't a fan of his comment, and I think even what he said about the coaching staff, as far as they just watch a lot of film and put in position, like to me as a player, like that's all you can ask for.
Boy, what else you want?
Watch the being the best, but my skill set put me where I can achieve the most success, and I do think that comes from obviously you're in New England. I don't know if he wanted to be there or not, but there's definitely something going on between him and Bill probably. But I think that's
what the GM.
You know what I mean? It's not the first time that somebody has left and been like, man, I like New England this, New England that. But I think his intention was to try to let people know how great Tom is. Because I think for us as players, we look at it when people say like, hey, like when he first went to Tampa, like, hey, we got to find out if he's not a system quarterback. And if you play with Tom, you like, what? Now I know like he's not Peyton yelling and screaming and like, but I'm like, bro, Tom go to the line and get in anything he wants, just like all the other great quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that to me that sticks out the most of the Patriot Way is when you look at Tom Brady, the quarterback, you would say he's awesome, he's great, but you would throw Peyton Manning, you would throw Aaron Rodgers, you would throw Mahomes in there eventually, Dan Marino, Montana, you throw all those guys in, but like for some reason when you break all those guys down, Tom is just different, and it's totally different. 6 Super Bowl wins, 10 appearances. You have all that, 9 of those appearances in New England, 6 of the wins in. So you're like, well, what is the difference? And I think the Patriot Way is the difference. The other guys doing the things that the team believes in. And I think when you talk about that, like, why do the other guys do that? Because the head coach, like he did that. And if you don't do it, you've seen it. Everybody's seen it. guys that come in and out of that place. And I don't care if you are a first-round pick, if you're one of the most highly touted free agents in NFL history, like if it doesn't work out, he gets rid of you. And I think that's a part of that Patriot way and that culture.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely don't think it's, Tom Brady's picture in a dictionary, except if you want to put his picture and say it represents, I definitely would agree with that.
Yeah, I hate to even try to put the two against each other. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because at the end of the day, they both great at what they do. You know what I mean? Like you just said, like Tom Brady's a great quarterback. Bill Belichick is a great coach. You know what I mean? You had them together for years. So, and they, like you said, even before that, you know what I mean? You got guys that y'all mentioned that was part of that culture and that Patriot way. So they even put them against each other like that. You know what I mean?
It's an and conversation. It's definitely not an or.
Right, exactly. Like them two dudes, they done it. They done it the right way.
And I don't think either one wins the way they won without each other. I think
agreed.
People will talk about the teams and how Bill put teams together and they've never been the best team because he used what he had. He knew Tom Brady could do certain things. So why would I go and have to get to, like, my goal isn't to have and break off records. And I think that's the difference. Like, Bill's not in here to have this guy that leads the league in interceptions year, leads the league in touchdown passes thrown, touchdown pass rush. Like, his ultimate goal every year is, how can I be back in the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl? Like, and I think why him and Tom were so great together. And I don't know if Tom was like that his whole life, that all he cared about was championships. But I think being in New England, Tom got to that point where him and Bill, even if they didn't agree on something, you knew at the end of the day, either one of them wanted was to win a Super Bowl. And Tom said that plenty of times. I remember talking to Spikes, and Spikes has said it publicly. He came in there talking about the Pro Bowl, how he's mad he didn't get in. And TB turned to him and was like, what the hell are you talking about, the damn Pro Bowl? Shit. All I care about is winning the Super Bowl. And, like, when you come to New England, that's what it's about. Like, there's no promotions and all that stuff for guys. Like, all they care about is winning the Super Bowl.
That's a fact, man. Speaking of Super Bowl, what's your favorite Super Bowl moment, man? Out of all the damn Super Bowls you've been to, what's your favorite moment?
Pride got 100 of them.
Yeah, man. I think no doubt it was winning in 18 with J-Mac at the top. And then I would say the other one is the first one I won in 2014. I think even the way that season came together with Revis coming on and signing Browner and then having lost in 2011, then getting beat in the AFC Championship 2 years in a row, it was like that feeling of like, well, like, I'm probably never going to win a Super Bowl. And then Curse makes that great catch at the end and Mount makes that interception. I just remember Vince being on the floor and me running and jumping on him. To me, that was it. I would say the celebration and Malcolm's interception of Malcolm being a guy that comes on our team as a tryout player. And you get to a team and you're a corner and you're like 7th or 8th on the depth chart and you look up and it's Revis, it's Browner, it's Logan Ryan, it's Kyle Arrington, it's Alfonso Dennard, and you end up being the 6th guy. Like, no shot he thought he was going to make the team. And Browner has a 4-game suspension to start off the year. It's probably the only reason he makes the team. And he's making plays, and then he ends up making that play. And then obviously the rest of his history ends up becoming one of the better corners in the NFL. I just think of how that all started. To me was as good as it gets, being in there. And, I think obviously the end of all of those, the ceremonies, those are the best moments. But those in particular come to mind right away when I think of the Super Bowl.
Goal line, 3 corners. Another great coaching adjustment.
Oh, man.
That's probably the first time I saw that.
That became a staple in our defense, that goal line 3.
Yeah.
Because after that, really the only other time we would do that was like in 4-minute situations where it was like, man, if they want to be a team that goes out there and puts 3 receivers, then we're going to dare them to throw the ball deep. And it was funny story about that as I heard Bill talk about it. So earlier in the fourth quarter, they had a 3rd and 1 on the opposite end. And they run the zone read and they give it to Marshawn Lynch, and Ninkovich stunts inside and we come off the edge with the safety and we stop it. And he said he felt like when they got the ball back to that 1 yard line, they were trying to decide, like, do we go zone read again, even though they just stopped us, or do we throw? And then he said, as he's about to call timeout, thinking we got to save time to get the ball back, he sees them not really sure, and he doesn't call a timeout. And he said he thinks the thinking was, let's throw here, and if we have to run on third down, we'll run. He said, but he really thinks it all started with that 3rd and 1 stop, and they had to kick a field goal on the opposite end. And I remember when he said it, and I was like, damn, this dude be thinking about everything in the game.
That's when he had that little notepad. That's probably some shit he wrote down.
It's chess, not checkers out there.
We like, damn, do we let them score? Like Mayo, like what? I forget. No, it was Hightower at the time. Like, yo, what are they saying? What do we do? What do we do? And like they was over on the sideline, calm. Then Flo starts yelling, goal line 3. A bunch of us run off the field, and next thing you know, you like, yo, he just caught the ball. So that was as crazy as it gets, I think, and probably the most critical situation. You talked about preparation and all that stuff, and where it really pays off, because that's going to happen once a season where it gets down to that. But these guys have talked about it, like they know how to execute it.
That's one of the biggest thing. He must be. Oh yeah, Hawks fan.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things I took from New England, man. Throughout my whole career, even in life. We talked about going in and out of that building, and them 4 things on the outside of the door, 4 things on the inside of the door, and you walk out. And gotta have it situations. Like that's a big thing that we used to always harp on in New England. Like, all right, what do they do when they gotta have it? 4th and 1, 3rd and goal, whatever it is. Like always being over prepared for those situations. And man, we gonna see where it shows up this Sunday. Like it always does.
Always do.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited about this Sunday, man. And appreciate you again for jumping on here with us, man. This was dope, man. A lot of insight. Obviously, you got a ton of experience, and just good catching up, man.
Sure. Y'all keep this going, bro. It's a great, I think, platform for players to come on, talk all different things, man. Y'all keep doing this.
I appreciate you, bro.
All right, fellas.
All right, be safe.
You too.
But yeah, man, there you have it.
Yeah,
great episode of the Man to Man Pod with Dev. Do y'all got anything? What's up there?
I was just saying, do y'all do anything special for the Super Bowl?
Man, I'm gonna be at the crib with the family. Invite some family over. We're gonna kick back, have some food, watch the game.
Go on something live and break down the game or something.
We need to, for real.
Yeah, we that would be dope.
So if you know anybody or anybody listening to this, hey, set something up, man. Holler at us, man. But that'd be like a live stream or something. That'd be dope. That'd be dope, because it's definitely gonna be a good one.
A real good one, yeah.
What's your plan? What you doing for the bowl?
Same thing, bro. Just sit in the crib. Everybody sit there and ask me if it feel weird, but it probably my mom and like stepdad or my in-laws come over, probably watch the game. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, I respect that. Y'all, you got caught up in that storm at all up there?
Yeah, no doubt. Got back 2 days before. Was out there with my neighbor shoveling. It was real out here, bro. We had to shovel.
How much y'all get?
I think it was like 18 to 20. We had to shovel just to get the plow to get in the driveway, because when they plow in the streets, that joint got kind of high.
Yeah.
So we had the plow to come in and just bring all that snow in. We was out there for like an hour and a half, sweating bullets, shoveling. It was
God, yeah, I don't miss that shit at all.
That's one thing I say, man. If I don't ever see snow another day in my life, I'll be good. I'll be good.
They loving it though. They love it.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. I was in Colorado a couple weeks ago, and I enjoyed it for a little bit, for a few days, and then you get back.
because you knew you was going back to Florida.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and hitting them slopes. I think I'm gonna be an avid skier going forward. I'm gonna have to go out there 3-4 times a year, man.
I hear you.
I'm nice, man. I'm getting on the blues, blacks. Holla at me. But all right, man.
All right, fellas.
All
right, bro. Take us out, AB.
Look, man, there you go, man. Another episode of the Man to Man Pod. Appreciate D-Mac. 3-time Super Bowl winner. Great conversation, great dialogue. As always, I'm AB. My co-host D-Butt. Tell a friend and tell a friend.
Wait, hold on. Before we go, hold on. Did we get your prediction, Super Bowl prediction? Who you got, man? Who you got?
Man, listening to D Mac, man, I kind of been doing the same thing, man. I've been going back and forth, man. I've been going back and forth. My pick probably like a month and a half ago was KC. So
yep.
I think I'm gonna stick with my pick, man. I'm gonna go with KC, man. I think the young boy Patrick Mahomes, he can go back to back, man.
Go back to back. So Kansas City, give me a score. We need a score. Let me see how close you get.
Score. I'm gonna say 31-24.
31-24. Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going the opposite. I said whatever you say, I'm gonna go opposite because I'm so torn. I'm on the fence. I'm going Tampa Bay with the win.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna go close though. It's gonna be close. I'm gonna say 31-28. Tampa Bay. Bucks. Brady wins the 7th Super Bowl, which is crazy.
Hey, I won't be mad at it.
We're gonna see. Either way, it's gonna be a great game. It's gonna be a great story. Either it's gonna be a passing of the torch or it's gonna be him, winning 7.
Yeah.
And that's man.
Either way, it's gonna be a good storyline. You know what I mean? I just don't want no blowout. That's it. At the end of the day, no blowout.
Facts, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Be back. We'll see y'all Overreaction Monday. The last one of the NFL season. Then we're gonna get into talking about basketball and football off season, a bunch of other stuff, man. So appreciate y'all rocking with us.
Y'all be safe.
Y'all.